This first clip is from shareholder shopping day. We arrived about an hour and a half, 2 hours early before it opened. We were right in the front of the line. Met some really cool people in line, some people that came from Australia. He was like a hedge fund manager from Australia, pretty cool. And yeah, we were right at the front of the line. We got in there, as you can see in the clip, ran right over to the Fruit of the Loom section to buy Berkshire Hathaway attire. And then after that, beeline to the Squishmallows to get some Warren and Charlie Squishmallows. I'd show you, but they are currently in the mail. I shipped them from the location, so that's what you're going to see here. We're just kind of fast forwarding to the day of the meeting. We had to get up at like 2 a.m. In hindsight, we didn't really have to get up that early, but I didn't know how bad the lines were going to be. The lines were really long. I mean, there were 40,000 people in attendance for this. However, we were like one of the very, very first, and it was like torrential downpouring. Luckily, we found a spot in the parking garage that you can actually go and stand under some coverage, which was very nice, so we didn't have to go out in the pouring rain. Yeah, in hindsight, you could probably arrive a little bit later than we did. We got there probably around 3 a.m. and got in the garage at 3:30, got parked, and stood for hours and hours and hours until they opened at 7. We're off at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting. Jeremy's kind of out of it. It's almost, well, there's no time on there, but it's about 2 a.m. He's not super happy to be up, and it's pouring. So hopefully the rain stops. We'll see. So we're late waiting in line, right, for hours and hours, like I mentioned, and there's this girl behind us, this girl by herself, and like an hour before opening, these two older dudes go up to her, and we hear their conversation in like the background, and it turns out they paid her like $300 or $400 just to stand there in line for her and save them a spot, which I guess, yeah, a lot of people that are attending this have a lot of money and can pay $300, $400 to have someone waiting in line for them. You know, we can't. I don't have that luxury, but understandable if you can. And anyways, when the doors opened, there was like a mad rush inside. Like people ran to try to get to the floor level, get as close to Buffett as possible. There was like free breakfast, free coffee. Never got to experience that because it was just a mad dash to get to those seats and get your, butt in your seat before someone else could. We actually got pretty good seats, like right at that little wall that separates, like where, like if you're in a stadium, like that little wall separating the field from the people in the stands. So right that front little section, not on the floor itself, because those went like bam. Like people were very, very competitive to get in those spots. But yeah, we finally got settled in, which is nice to be sitting after standing for many, many, many hours. And then you're just going to kind of see this pan of the stadium. Took about an hour, but it got completely filled. And then they moved the rest of the people that weren't able to get in into like overflow video rooms, which obviously isn't as exciting as seeing the man in person. Well, you told me. Did it?
Look at the underlying demand in that utility and say go into the later 2030s, it triples the underlying demand, and billions and billions of dollars have to be.
So then they show this great Charlie Munger tribute video / Warren speaking a bit on the video, just about, what it means to be like a Berkshire Hathaway investor, etc. Really phenomenal video. Everyone stood up at the end and did a standing ovation in respect of Charlie Munger. It was really a nice, touching moment. And then the stage lights up and you can see Warren right there. I mean, it was like mind-blowing to see him in person, just someone you've heard about for so long, and such an investment icon, just being like a few hundred feet away from you. Very cool. So that's kind of what we're experiencing right there. To the right of him, from our direction that we're looking at, it's Greg Abel. That's his designated successor. And then to the right of Greg is a Jeet. I forgot his last name, but he's like the head of insurance. So those are his two like current right-hand men, and they'll eventually become like the leaders of Berkshire Hathaway when, hopefully in a long time from now, when Warren eventually passes.
Canadian here, so we'll let him answer the first part. And if you watch me, you'll see what I like to eat. I mean,
So then we had a quick lunch break, went back into the exhibition hall. I, of course, had to grab another $1 cherry dilly bar, because why not? It's $1. And got like a cheeseburger and a drink. Nice little break. Got my mom a pair of gloves from another one of the vendors. All the vendors inside that exhibition hall are a bunch of Berkshire Hathaway companies, so very cool to see. Spent a lot of money on just a bunch of their stuff. And then we head back in for the second part. In the second part, we go to the top of the stadium just to kind of get a different vantage point. And at this point, some degree of people have cleared out. It's not entirely packed like it was before. It's now more like 75%. But I'm there to see it all. I want to, get the full Warren Buffett experience.
I went through the Moody's Transportation Manual a couple of times. That was 1,500 or 2,000 pages, or probably 1,500 pages. And I found all kinds of interesting things when I was 50 or when I was 20 or 21. And I don't imagine there's anybody here that knows about the Green Bay and Western Railroad Company, but there were hundreds and hundreds of railroad companies, and I like to read about every one of them. The Green Bay and Western, in those days, everybody had a nickname for railroads. I mean, that was just what Northern Pacific was the never. Iterative AI, where we're looking at very specific processes where people can implement it, and either at times it displaces the labor, but then hopefully there's other opportunities.
And so, last little thing was when Warren took like a few last questions, and did like his own little speech. And at the end there, he's just like, I hope I can come back next year. I hope you all do as well. And everyone, of course, does a huge standing ovation, like 2 minutes straight clapping for the man. You can tell he looks like a little bit emotional. He hides it very well, but obviously in that moment after losing his business partner and knowing obviously his time is kind of running short as well, we're all just trying to pay huge respect to the man. It was a very touching moment. Didn't get that on video. I just wanted to kind of experience it myself, not be worried about a phone. So you can see it online, but huge standing ovation. A really nice moment, honestly. And then the last little clip here, you just see everyone kind of exiting the halls, all 40,000 of us. And that's the end of the meeting until next year, which I hope to go to. And I appreciate you watching the video. Let's go Buffett. Let's hope he lives many more years to come.